the month started off with my Polestar 2 car not being delivered. So we've had EVs. I've got a Polestar 2 and Kyle's had a Citroen EV come along, and my Polestar was meant to be delivered at the start of the month. I think it was the first Friday of the month that it was getting delivered. And on the morning of the delivery, I had a phone call from Polestar to tell me that the car wouldn't be coming. They'd had a problem getting it on the delivery truck, and I thought, oh no, you're going to tell me that somebody scratched it or driven it off the ramp getting onto the delivery truck. But it turned out it wasn't the case. They just couldn't get the car to turn on. But they assured me that I would be a priority case and they'd get back in touch as soon as they knew more and when it would be delivered again. So I went, okay, that's fine. At least you told me about it. At least whatever the problem is going to be sorted out before it gets delivered. So Monday came, I didn't hear anything. Tuesday came, didn't hear anything. Wednesday came, didn't hear anything. So I got on their phone, gave them a call and went on their web chat. And both people that I spoke to had no information on it at all of what the car was coming. But they assured me that it was a priority case and that they would let me know as soon as the car was available for delivery. I was going, well, that's kind of great, but the problem is I don't know if that's going to be tomorrow, in a week's time, or a month's time. You need to give me some more details and time frames on when I can expect the car to come. They just couldn't do that. So I kind of had enough in that. I was thinking, I don't know when this car's coming. When's it coming? So I went on LinkedIn and I posted on LinkedIn. I tagged in the MD of Polestar UK and their head of sales UK, who got in touch with me straight away, straight after I posted. I'll actually put a link to the post in the blog post down below to that link on LinkedIn. So you can see the responses, because it was all done in the public and it was done really well. And they got customer services to give me a call to give me an update. Sadly, customer services didn't know anything about the car, but they promised that they would call me every single day to give me an update. On the Thursday, this is a week later on the Thursday, customer service did call me to tell me that the car was still with the delivery team, but it would be going to the workshop tomorrow, the following day on the Friday. So for a whole week, the car had just been left with the delivery team. No one had thought about, oh, you know what, probably should take this to the diagnostics team so they can have a look at the car and work out what's going on. They didn't do that. And of course, it was going to the workshop on a Friday, so that means Saturday, Sunday, nothing's getting done on the car anyway. So I'm not going to know anything till later in the following week, on the second week of it being delayed. And it wasn't probably until about Wednesday or Thursday of the second week that customer services let me know that the problem was with the key of the car. And the key, they needed a new key sent out for the car. The car's manufactured in Chengdu in China, and I think the key might be as well. And they had to get a key from Chengdu over to the UK, a replacement key for the car. And of course, that was going to take another 5 or so days. And another weekend goes by, can't do anything on a weekend. And then they finally get the key for the car. Well, I guess they do. And it wasn't until the week after. In fact, it wasn't until yesterday that Polestar got in contact with me. So I'm recording this on the 3rd of November. So on the 2nd of November, pretty much a month after the car was meant to be delivered, Polestar got in contact to say that they've got it all working, the key's working, everything's working, and they want to deliver the car to me. I'm thinking, great, I'm a priority case, and it has kind of been a bit of a mess so far with your communication. You're going to tell me that you're going to deliver the car this week? And they go, no. It's going to be the following Tuesday. So it's going to be another 7 days before I can actually get my hands on the car. So all in all, a bit of a disappointment. The Polestar guys have been decent, and they've understood the feedback that I've given them and stuff like that, because the customer service department, turns out, is in a different location in the UK to where they do their servicing and workshop work and all that kind of stuff. So they don't have a direct contact. It's just email and telephone contacts between them. But the customer services wasn't great. I shouldn't have to chase people to find out what's happening to a car, especially when you're putting so much money towards it. It's not great, and I shouldn't have to post on LinkedIn to get someone higher up in the company to get involved and sort it out for me. So they need to work on that. That's not good. I'm hoping the car comes next week because I really want it, but I'm preparing myself for disappointment. I'm preparing myself for there to be another problem, which shouldn't be the way a brand shouldn't operate like that. It should be, yeah, I'm getting the car, and I shouldn't have to be worried that something else is going to go along. So I know Polestar's a new brand in that it was Volvo's sports brand, a bit like M-Power is BMW's sports brand, and they cut it off into its own company now that just does EV. So it's still a young company, and it looks like their standard operating procedures probably aren't in place, and they could work on that to make their customer service far more involved and getting the information, because once you've had a delivery delayed once, you just want to know where the car is and when you can expect to get it. You don't want to be left in the dark not knowing until they decide that they've fixed it and want to get in contact. So that was my feedback to them. They've taken it well, and hopefully by the time I record next month's Founders Log video, I'll have the car. In other news, we had 2 new clients come on board. One has just been onboarded in the last weekend of October, which has just gone. They were already using Google Workspace, but they were having problems with their emails going into spam when they were sending it to other people. They had some misconfigurations on their domain. The domain they had didn't have the greatest reputation. So we've actually flicked them to a different domain that ends .team rather than .uk.com, which they were using before. So it actually looks nicer and it's more attractive, the domain is. And we're rebuilding a reputation on that for them, so their emails are less likely to go into spam, and it's all been configured correctly now. So that should massively help them. And the next thing is to get their data from Dropbox into Google Drive, get them to stop using Zoom and use Google Meet and all that kind of stuff. And that will happen over the next coming weeks. The other lead is kind of in limbo land at the moment, in that they've signed the agreement, but the IT company they're moving from to join us is not taking it well at all. They've been very grumpy, and they're not releasing the accounts and the data that are needed to make the transition take place. So that's still up in the air when that's going to start. Hopefully the other IT company will start to see sense and say, hey guys, we're sorry, that here's the stuff, and just move over. But they're being grumpy at the moment, and that's the problem with IT companies, because there's no regulation. You get a lot of cowboys in the industry. There's one up in Manchester I've been told about, where as your company grows, if you need to add a new user to get a new email address, they'll extend your contract for 3 extra years every single time you add a new user, which I don't know how that's even legal, but apparently it is. But you've really got to watch out when you're dealing with IT companies, because there's no regulation. We really want regulation to come out for IT companies, because it gets rid of these cowboys, and only the properly authorized companies are the ones that you deal with. But that doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon. So make sure you read the terms and conditions whenever you sign up with an IT company, because there could be something hidden in there that's not nice. So always look through them. We did 2 new podcasts this month, as normal. The first one was just about my Polestar and updates, the things I've kind of talked about now, but I had less information back then. And the second podcast is actually about the @ symbol that you see in the middle of your email address. So email is about to hit 50 years old, and the @ symbol has been around all that time during email. The @ symbol can actually be traced back to the 16th century, and it was used in Dutch fishing records. But now it's used in email, and it's used for lots of other things. So that @ symbol has evolved over time. So quite often now in any program you're in, you can do Shift to get the @ symbol to come up, and a menu will appear, and you'll have other things you can do, like tag people in, tag dates in, tagging other documents and things like that. So the @ symbol has massively evolved over these last 50 years, and we discussed that in the podcast. So go and find that one and have a listen, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast too. It's the Kimberley IT podcast, and you can get it at the KimberleyITpodcast.com, and of course on all your podcast apps that you use, it's also listed in there. So have a subscribe and tell us what you think. This month we've got 4 new videos up on YouTube. One is about Google Drive and the most secure way to share files. So if you're not too sure how you're sharing files, and if you're sharing them in the most secure manner, go and have a look at that video. Second video is how to set up dual monitors for your computer. So a lot of people now are working from everywhere, and they normally have a laptop and a desktop monitor, and they're typically at different heights and different sizes and different resolutions. And Kyle in this video talks you through how to set them up in the most effective way and most efficient manner for you to be able to use them. The third video, I can't actually remember what it's about, but it will be a good video because I would have edited it and I wouldn't have uploaded anything rubbish. So go and have a look on the channel to see what that one's about. And the final video is a what is video. These are our new explainer videos we're doing. So the first one is what is Google two-step verification, and the video takes you through what that is and why it protects your account and the ways that you can use Google two-step verification. Tell us what you think of that one. It's a new style video with different content and videos and music in there. I'd love to know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're about 360 or so subscribers at the moment, and we want to hit 1,000 within the next 12 months. So every subscription counts. And don't forget to like any videos if you like them, and also leave a comment, because we reply to all comments on the YouTube channel. If there's something you want us to make, or there's a comment you want to make about a video, stick it in there and we'll reply. And finally, our October statistics. So in October, 58 people got in contact with us. 43 of those were looking for assistance. This is a way to do things better or to learn a new feature inside Google Workspace or the services they're using. The remaining 15 people got in contact for support, and I'm pretty certain all 15 were about printers and scanners, because printers and scanners are junk. They've been junk since the 1990s and they're still junk now, and they'll just break for no reason whatsoever. They can be working fine for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then all of a sudden they break and nothing's changed. They just don't want to work anymore. Our biggest and best solution for that is don't print and don't scan. You pretty much only need to print if you have to post something, and it's very rare you have to post something these days. There are some exceptions like HMRC and government departments that are behind the times and require you to print something out and have to sign it and send it off. Again, with lawyers and legal firms and legal requirements where they want you to have a wet signature, which is kind of just ridiculous when everyone else is using DocuSign and stuff like that. And then scanners, well, scanner is just a photo. It's a photo of a document. So you could just take a photo of the document and save it in your Google Drive, or inside your Google Drive app, you can use the scan functionality to make a kind of a fake scan and then save it inside your Google Doc. Now, there are some reasons why you might want a scanner. Say if you're an accountancy firm and you're scanning loads of big piles of paper a client has sent you that you need to scan into a system, then you need a scanner. But that scanner will break sometimes and it's going to be a pain in the arse, and it always will be. But as much as you can, try not to print and try not to scan. And if you can scan, use the apps, because they're far better than hardware-based big scanners, unless you're doing a big pile of paper, like I just said. Out of the people who got in contact with us, 65% of those we got back working. We'd responded to them and they were working again within 5 minutes. In fact, it would probably be quicker than that. I think we probably need to segregate it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, because I imagine the vast majority of people are back to work within 2 minutes. So we need to look at changing the way we record that, because I think it's actually quicker than that. And then the remaining people, they were responded to within 5 to 30 minutes and back to work. And again, we need to cut those segments down, because I suspect it was a lot quicker. There'll be a lot more people nearer the 5-minute mark than there would be near the 30-minute mark. So we need to look at doing that as well. But that's the stats on how quickly we got back to people. And then so out of all those people who got in contact, 57 of them got in contact through our unique instant messaging system. I don't think any other IT company does instant messaging support. One subscriber out of all of the ones that got in contact decided to email in an old email ticket, which is never going to be as quick as instant messaging, but sometimes people do that. Normally if they can't use instant messaging for some reason, but that's very, very rare. But yeah, instant messaging is the way to get in contact, and it's the quickest way to get a response. And then out of all the people that got in contact with us, we believe that 9 users would not need to have got in contact with us in October if they'd had regular training or even any training to start off with. We find that quite a lot of businesses don't bother with training. They will get somebody, they'll hire someone new, and they'll give them a computer and that, there you go, sort it out yourself, get on with it. They won't give them any onboarding training or any regular training, and it's just a waste of time, because those guys are going to be struggling, and they don't know what they don't know, so they're not going to find out better ways to do things. So they're not going to be able to ask us, is there a better way to do this, because they don't know a better way exists. So it's really important, or the possibility of a better way existing. So it's really important that people do training, and we offer learning sessions by Kimberley IT, which is training on Google Workspace. It's up to 10 people in each session, and the lowest price one is £210, and Lauren will show them everything. That's incredibly cheap and good value for money. It's just people just don't want to do it. Businesses don't want to spend that money for some odd reason, and instead they prefer to waste time. They don't make it the link in their head that time is money, and they are wasting way more money by not training than they would if they were training, because training is not a waste of money. It gives people skills that they can use and improve and do things quicker. But without training, you're just throwing time away, so it's kind of nuts. Anyway, that's the roundup for this month. I'll be back in November, back in December to tell you about November. So I'll speak to you then. Bye-bye.